What's going on, y'all? So I just had like a technical um difficulty, so to speak. I accidentally selected the wrong camera, and um and I couldn't switch it, so I had to recreate my live stream. But here we are. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Um, Remember, transform your physical health live is where I answer your health and fitness questions live, and I talk about health and fitness in the news. Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of deleting the video, the last live that I did by accident. Um, but I want to talk about this, and this is for the brothers today. Um, because it has to do with the prostate, and of course, we're the ones with the prostates around here. And so I came across this podcast episode. I didn't listen to it. It just kind of was something that was suggested to me. It's the Rich Roll podcast, which I have heard of. Years ago, and he was apparently interviewing a prostate expert. And they were talking about prostate cancer, which is a men's health issue, and has affected the lives of many, many people. And among the different things that were talked about on the podcast, he did talk about some stuff that is more so along the reducing risk, preventative kind of um line, okay? And so I kind of want to mention what this expert said about that. This is what this guy said that men, well, let me put it this way because I don't want to like take it out of the context of the way he said it. He was specifically talking about a group of people among whom it was observed, was a very, very low prostate cancer risk. He said that when people of East Asian culture were studied, traditional East Asian culture, like in China and whatnot. He said before, this is like before they got a lot of the westernized diet and lifestyle kind of stuff over there. A lot of people of East Asian traditional culture, among them was observed a very low prostate cancer risk. And pay attention to this. This is what was seen there. The traditional diet of this culture is very, very low in meat. A lot of vegetables, a lot of plant foods, okay? And then an overall low volume of food. He said basically because of what's going on is these are people considered peasants. So, peasants are people who are not necessarily like affluent per se, but because of that, not necessarily buying a lot of meat and eating a lot of meat and rich foods and stuff. Like I said, lots of vegetables, um, a largely plant based diet and whatnot. And here's the thing: in our culture today, even if you don't even if you don't have a lot, like you're not one who's wealthy per se, um, you have pretty easy access to meat because we, because culture has changed where meat is so accessible. It's been made cheap, which we know that's not necessarily good, because you get what you buy, what you pay for. And so cheap meat means lower quality meat. But anyway, that said, it used to be that meat consumption was more so like directly related, directly proportional to how much money you made, how much money you had, because meat's harder to come by, and so it automatically mean that people of a peasant lifestyle will be eating a lot more vegetables, which is just so happens that this kind of lifestyle is healthier anyway. So anyway, he was saying this is kind of like what's observed in this particular culture where the incidence of prostate cancer was the lowest, or I won't say the lowest, but very, very low. And what he was saying was it's important for men to, quote, deploy these things as early as possible. And he's saying, like, now, if you're a man and you're in your 50s and whatnot, you may not necessarily get as much benefit, you know, based on the time of life that you're in, it doesn't mean you won't get any benefit. So you should do these kind of things. So in other words, focus on eating, you know, a lot less meat. I'm not saying eat no meat, but like, based on like the way that these people lived in a culture where prostate cancer is very low, it's a good idea to lower meat consumption in place of that, increase it with a lot more quality vegetables, and eating a lower volume of food. We in our culture, and I talk about this a lot, we eat all the time. We eat all the time. I remember when I was like a teenager and people were talking about eating 4 meals a day, 5 meals a day, 6 meals a day. Because like we kind of have this mindset now that we have to be eating all the time. But like in case in case you haven't heard this, like the way the human body is designed, we actually can go without food for a while. Especially, I mean, if you're healthy in particular, like you've already been kind of feeding your body with nutrients and whatnot. We're actually designed where we can actually fast and go without food for a while. Like how in with animals, a lot of times they may have to go without food for a while. Like say food is scarce, and they have to travel for a long time, to get to more food, or whatever. And so we actually are designed to be able to do that as well. It's just that because we kind of create our environments, we're different as humans. We've just made a culture where we eat all the time. But just because we can do that, just because we made it where we can do that, doesn't mean that that's actually a healthy thing. Um, So anyway, this prostate expert was saying deploying these kind of practices into your diet and lifestyle as early as possible is key. As early as possible post puberty. So puberty is like your mid to late teens. So deploying these things as early as possible after that is the most helpful thing. So I just kind of wanted to put this out there. I will link to that podcast um in let me see, in the description below, so you can like listen to it if you want to. They talk a lot about other things having to do with like conventional treatment and other stuff. I didn't really listen to that, but I really did want to pull out these kind of things because I think it's always important for us to understand what we can do. That's what I'm all about, empowering you to understand what you can do so you don't just leave it up to chance per se, because we have to understand the things that we're doing that could be contributing to us developing illnesses and diseases and whatnot, so that we can adjust, or at least we know, what's in our hands, and then it's up to you at that point to decide what you're actually going to do or what you're not going to do. Okay. All right. So short and sweet. That's all I have for this live. Make sure you stick around. I plan on coming on in the morning, 10 tomorrow morning as well. I was kind of a little delayed with it today because of my little technical difficulty, but oh, and I've also not done it for a few days because things have been coming up. But hey, be empowered. Do what you can do to take care of your health, y'all. There's so much you can do. Exercise, drop down and get some push-ups in, or go take a quick walk today. Do that a few times. Make that a lifestyle. Um, you have the freedom to do this. So just do it. Okay. All right, y'all have a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and get to my other work, and y'all take care.